これからアーリントンナショナルセメテリーツアーで、アーリントンの全体を約45分ほどで回ります。
These rocks are called honors. This is an ancient tradition. To honor the deceased when you go visit their grave site. This is the McClellan Gate. It was the original entrance to Arlington between 1871 and 1879. It was built by General Montgomery Meigs, who departed the cemetery. It's the only gate still standing from the 1800s. If you look on the left side, you'll see Montgomery Meigs put his name on the gate in gold letters. As to who he was kind of area, getting more people to know he has something to do with this gate. On the left side says Meigs in bold gold letters. You can see that because the sun is here, but this is there. If you look on the left, you see a little skinny tree. That's the memorial tree for the Beirut Bear Stack in Lebanon. It is, okay, this little one. For the Beirut Bear Stack in Lebanon, because of the Lone Cedar of Lebanon. Yes, that little tree. If you look on the right, you can find the grave site for the Nakashima brothers. They were part of the 442nd Infantry Regiment. They're mostly were Japanese American citizens fighting for their country, while their families at home were made to live in internment camps by the same country they were fighting for. Their motto was go for broke, and they did. They became the most highly decorated regiment in World War II. Also, you can find the grave for Sergeant Michael Strank. He's one of the men who raised the flag at Matsubachi and Iwashima. On the right is section 60. This is one of the most highly visited sections of the cemetery. People that served in Iraq and Afghanistan are frequently buried here. There's also a Medal of Honor award at each section. Many people have received Medal of Honors awards. Also on the right you can find the grave site for Sergeant John Bassalone. He was the first recipient of the Medal of Honor Award in World War II. And there's definitely the Coast Guard monument. several names on them. It's for men and women who died in the same incident, and they're all under the same marker. The handouts we're looking at now are government issued. They're paid for by taxpayer dollars through the National Cemetery Administration and the Department of Veterans Affairs. They are 42 inches tall with 24 inches above the ground. They are 13 inches wide and 4 inches thick. They're made of marble, and each one weighs about 230 pounds. If you look on the left, you can see the military service women as well. One is Major Maria Therese Rossi Hayton. She was the first female combat pilot and the first female to command an aviation unit. These spires represent the three codes of the Air Force: integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. On the right behind the bush, you can see the top of the Coast Guard Monument. This monument is dedicated to the 150 sailors who lost their lives in two separate incidents in 1918. On the left, the globe is for Admiral Robert Perry, Arctic explorer. He's credited with Sister Matthew Winston. He's credited with placing the flag on the North Pole. Is he was sitting off at the Coast Guard Monument? The first incident for the USS Coast Guard Monument was they were on the USS Gunner Seneca. They were on a rescue mission. They were to rescue people on the British ship Wellington. When they got to the Wellington, it blew up and sank. The second one was the USS Cutter Tampa. They were blown up by a German U-boat. Next up will be the General John J. Pershing gravesite. If you look ahead on the right at a distance, you'll see three tall green poles. If you look 4 rows to the right of those, you see a marker with 4 stars across the top. It's for Admiral Villarreal, the father of the Seabees. If you look further to the right, you'll see Section 18. The people there fought in the American Expeditionary Forces under General John J. Pershing. General Pershing is the most highly ranked officer buried at Arlington, and the second most highly ranked officer in the history of the United States. He was made General of the Army, which means he controls all the armed forces. He's the only one to achieve that while alive. It's like being a 6-star general. And because of 6-star, some people want to give him a big old lavish head on. He said no. He wanted his head on to be just like his men. And these are his men. If you look all the way to the right of the top of the hill, you'll see a blue tree. It's called a blue spruce, that one. That's the World War I memorial tree. It also marks the grave of General John J. Pershing. There are 2 headstones there, one for the general, the other for his 2 grandsons. Just like his men's headstone. Is anyone stepping off at the General John J. Pershing gravesite?
Bleu blanc, bleu blanc. Ah, aussi.
We're going to try to get you there by 11:30. Change it. Our next stop is to the North. We're going to try to get you there for the 11:30 change. Section 18 is the World War I repatriation section. We had almost 80,000 Americans buried in Europe during World War I. We got about 2,100 and brought them home to Arlington. We have an Argonne Cross, the other the ones we could not bring home. It's the grove of 19 pine trees to remind us of the Argonne Force in France, where many Americans fought and lost their lives. cell phone off or put it on vibrate. You can take pictures but not with a flash phone. You believe this whole cemetery is only 1 square mile? It feels like more when I walk up the hills. It really does. It's only 1 square mile. In the summer, it feels like 3. Because the tightness of time, I'm going to ask you to walk quickly, quietly around to the change. We'll be in the back and in front, so just, you got time though. We turn this corner on the right. I want you to look on the left at the corner. The marker that looks like the outline of a house is for the Battle of the Bulge, the largest land battle in American history. Go to the corner. On left is the nurses section. If you look ahead by the tree, you'll see there's a nurse behind that tree. She is the nursing memorial, coming up on your left.
And on the
right, you're going to see some small markers. These small markers are called cenotaphs. The bodies are here. If you look in front of that, it's how the other military service members who their bodies were never recovered, or they're buried at sea, or they donated their bodies to medical science, or they are missing in action. If you look on your left and the head at the top of the hill, you'll see the Spanish-American War Monument. There are 4 cannons up there. The 2 outside cannons are for Spanish artillery. The 2 inside cannons are ours. You can look up there and see how we quickly won that war. If you look down the road on the left, you'll notice that tree has pavement around it. This marks the gravesite of Major Audie Murphy. Audie Murphy was the most highly decorated enlisted man in World War II. He also is the Medal of Honor Award recipient. The one with all the flowers in front of his head, though, that's Audie Murphy. See all the flowers in front of his head, though, that's where Audie Murphy is. He's still popular. Audie Murphy, he's still popular. Just walk right around here. There's also a lavatory you're going to pass on the way. When you reborn, though, you're born here. I'll be your narrator. Our driver is Baba Tunde. For your safety and comfort, please don't standing up or moving about while the trolley is in motion. Please keep all items and body parts inside the vehicle. How old are you, ma'am? How old are you, ma'am? How old are you? After taking switch with the gym under 12, place it by the door of the window, just for your safety. Inside a big space, small kid, not a good mix. Thank you. Please keep all your body parts inside the vehicle at all times. Please keep the speaking voices low so I may follow and enjoy the narration. Our next stop will be the Arlington House, also called the Robert E. Lee Memorial, also called the Custis Lee Mansion. If you look on your left, you can see 3 tall brown markers. The one farthest away is for the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster. The middle one is for the Iran hostage rescue mission attempt. The closest one is for the Space Shuttle Columbia disaster. This tall gray outlet on the immediate left is for the 3rd Infantry Division. They foster hired and friends. They became known as the Rock of the Marne. Audie Murphy is part of this division as well. These here 200 Americans who went to Canada to fight World Wars I and II. Canada was a British Commonwealth nation, so they got into both of these wars before we did. So if our people wanted to fight, they went to Canada, signed up, and fought in part of the Canadian Armed Forces. On the corner you see an open book on the ground. This is the War Correspondence Memorial Tree, dedicated to the people who kept us informed of what our loved ones were doing when they were fighting best at home and abroad. And the left is the mast of the ship Maine. This ship sank. It was the beginning of the Spanish-American War. There was a battle cry, remember the Maine, and the Spanish-American War officially began. If you look further to the left, you see a tall orange tower. That is called a cairn. It's for the Pan Am Flight 103, terrorist attack in Lockerbie, Scotland. There's one stone there for each person that died, and all their names at the base of the monument. See that cannon right there? That's canopy, the Army say, no more big heads on that big old canopy.
466, code 6.
And you're going to see the largest single burial at the cemetery. It's called the Tomb of the Civil War Unknown. This large white sarcophagus. There are 2,111 people under here, both Union and Confederate. We're coming to the Arlington House. The first building you see is the slave quarters for the household slaves. You get a free tour of the mansion until about 3:30 in the afternoon from the park. Service is free. The elevator on the left is the souvenir gift shop. Is anyone stepping up in the Arlington? If you have a camera, you want to go to the front of this house, you see why the confiscating everything. Really. Take your time, watch your step, and go to the right though. Take your time, watch your step, and enjoy your visit.
All drivers, all stops are open. All stops are open.
ここはリー将軍のハウスです。昔の軍服がありますね。これ南軍のものだと思います。
Owned by his wife, Mariana Reinhardt Custis, who inherited it from her father, George Washington Park Custis, who built this place to honor our first nation's president. Yes, his grandson built this house.
And you know, especially since they have no antibiotics, if someone had a cold or a sore throat, that was considered serious. George Washington died of organization. And the way they treated things medically was to have leeches draw your blood because they thought that he must have bad blood. And so that made you even weaker. So, I mean, I am.
リー将軍の若い時に写真です。
As Sulphur Island. If you know what sulfur smells like, it's not very pleasant, and that's what the island was, full of sulfur, and that's how it got its name, Iwo Jima. The island is located 660 miles south of Tokyo, Japan. It is a small island with an active U.S. Marine Corps base on it right now. I was just there a few years ago. The Iwo Jima War Memorial statue is one of the world's tallest bronze statues. It stands at 78 feet tall and sits on hundreds of tons of Swedish granite. Before the statue was assembled, it was shipped to Brooklyn, New York in over 100 pieces to get bronzed. It took approximately 3 years to bronze all those pieces, and then they shipped them back here and reassembled it outside the Orden Whistlegate, which is our next stop. The Iwo Jima statue was depicted from a famous photograph taken by Joe Rosenfeld with the Associated Press. He took that picture of 5 Marines and 1 Navy corpsman raising the flag on top of Mount Suribachi on the Iwo Jima Island. The Iwo Jima statue is a memorial to all Marines. The statue is a memorial to all Marines that have served since 1775 around the world. On your right is section 28. This is known as the Vietnam and Korean War section. coming up just ahead of us, soon to be on your left. You're going to see a construction area. This is called the Millennium Project. It's a new section of the cemetery under construction. It's going to add around 27,000 in-ground burial spaces and a whole lot of columbarium walls. It's supposed to be completed by the end of this year. If you're not familiar with a columbarium, there's a mock columbarium coming up on your left, close to the road. It's open so you can see the inside. Those little spaces inside the wall are called niches or niche spaces. Each niche space can hold 1 to 2 urns, depending on the size of the urn. Once the urn is placed inside that niche space, the doors are sealed shut. Names and dates are engraved on the outside, and that's your columbarium. Section 27 is coming up on both sides of the vehicle. This is the oldest section in the cemetery. If you look to your right, coming up, once we get there, you're going to see some white block markers. They look a little different than the regular white marble headstone. They look like white blocks. These are the first unknown graves. They used to have wooden crosses marking these unknown graves, and when the wood deteriorated, they replaced them with these white blocks. You'll see them coming up on your right. Also in this section, if you to look back on, read some of these headstones, you'll see the word civilian or citizen on a lot of these headstones. There's about 3,800 freed slaves that lived in the freedmen camps in the surrounding area that are buried here. It'll say civilian or citizen on the headstone. Also, you may see the letters on the headstone that say USCT. USCT stands for United States Colored Troops. There's about 1,500 of the first African-American infantrymen buried here. There's a wonderful movie called Glory that tells the story of the first African-American infantryman, starring Denzel Washington, Morgan Freeman. At your local library, it's called Glory. Excellent movie. Coming up on your left, if you look over the cemetery wall, you're going to see a tall gray tower. This gray tower is called the Carillon Bell Tower. It was a gift from the Netherlands to the United States for us helping them out during World War II. There's about 50 bells inside that tower that ring at different times of the day. It's your Carillon Bell Tower. If you keep looking left over the wall, at the top of the hill under the trees is where the Iwo Jima War Memorial statue is located. It's about a 5-minute walk from this gate coming up, the Horn and Whistle Gate. Or if you don't want to walk, if you have your own vehicle, the road goes around the entire statue and there's free parking over there. Where those buses are on your left, that's where the United States Marine Corps War Memorial statue is located. There's a red fire hydrant coming up on your left on the side of the road. Once your road passes that fire hydrant, look to your left, you'll catch a glimpse of the statue. It looks like it's a bluish green color. That's bronze. Here's the fire hydrant. I see the statue. We have 3 Marines that helped raise the flag on Mount Suribachi on the island of Iwo Jima, buried here in the cemetery. One of them is Corporal Rene Cagnon, is coming up on your right. Just ahead of us, you'll see a bronze plate on the back side of his white headstone, close to the road on your right, coming up. That's Corporal Rene Cagnon, United States Marine Corps. The other 2 Marines are located. We have Corporal Ira Hayes in Section 34 and Sergeant Michael Schrank in Section 12. So if you choose to get off here, please exit on the right side of the vehicle, go through the gate, cross the road. Cameo's leaving? It's Corporal Rene Cagnon, United States Marine Corps, Iwo Jima flag raiser. He was originally buried in his hometown, and his family requested that he be reinterred here in Arlington National Cemetery as close as possible to the statue. That's pretty close right now. So we have approximately 424,000 buried here at this time. We had 30 scheduled funeral services for today. That's why the flag is at half staff. We average 25 to 30 funeral services every day, Monday through Saturday, no funeral services on Sunday. If you look at these white marble headstones, they look like they're in perfectly straight lines in any direction that you look. These are the U.S. government issued headstones. They're free to the service member for their service to a country. And they're all exactly the same size. They are 42 inches long with 24 inches above ground, 13 inches wide, 4 inches thick, and believe it or not, they weigh 230 pounds each. It's called Vermont marble. The same material as the Memorial Amphitheater is made of. Don't ask me how much that weighs. If you look to your left, you'll see the back side of these headstones. Some have writing on the back, some do not. The back side of the headstone is reserved for the information of the spouse and or dependent if they're buried here with a service member. Also on the back side of every headstone is a section number and grave number. So all day we've been telling you to hold on to your boarding passes so you can hop on and hop off at each stop. I know the Kennedy stop was closed earlier. Your tickets are good all day. If you want to take the tour again, just walk back up to the pavilion, show your tickets, and get on the next vehicle and going out. If you're done for the day, flip your boarding pass over. On the back side is a comment card. It's postage paid. Just fill out your comments, drop it in any mailbox. It'll be sent to our corporate headquarters in St. Augustine, Florida, and they will be reviewed. If you need a name to put on there, my name is Steve, your driver's name is James. I want to thank you in advance for doing that. We're almost back to the Welcome Center. We have a couple more notables to point out to you before we get back. Yes, sir. look to your right, you'll see a very tall ground marker at the top of the hill next to the hedges. This is the final resting place of our 27th president, President William H. Taft, and his wife Nellie are buried up there. That's the second president that we have here in the cemetery. The first one was Kennedy. This is the second one. President Taft was a huge baseball fan. One of the first games he attended, he threw out the first pitch. During the 7th inning, he was a very, very, very large man. He stood up and stretched, and everybody followed him. He started the 7th inning stretch. Or maybe the wave. Also, his wife, Nellie, she's responsible for planting the very first Japanese cherry trees around the tidal basin in Washington, D.C. Her and the Japanese Empress started that. They also started an ongoing exchange. Every year we send Japan dogwood trees and they send us cherry trees. Part of our relationship. So as we go through these gates, we're going to be passing through Memorial Avenue. Memorial Avenue is where a lot of funeral processions will start right here. So if you look to your left, it's a perfectly straight line all the way down Memorial Avenue over the Memorial Bridge and into the Lincoln Memorial. That straight line continues to your right, even though you can't see it. It's a perfectly straight line all the way up to Kennedy's gravesite and Arlington House. That straight line represents the north and south. Very good. When you leave the cemetery, look back and see what I'm talking about. It's a straight line. So I have a bag full of red poppy flowers up here. Must be a bank robbery going on. So these red poppy flowers, we're going to be handing them out when we get to the Welcome Center. The story behind the poppy all started after World War I on the battlefields. There was so much devastation and destruction that nothing was able to grow except for these red poppy flowers. There was a Canadian soldier by the name of John McCrae that noticed this and wrote a famous poem called In Flanders Fields about the poppies, and ever since then the poppy's been a symbol of remembrance. So we'd like to offer you a poppy today so you remember what you've seen, heard, and explored here at Arlington National Cemetery. We hope you've enjoyed your tour. My name again is Steve, the driver's name is James. Don't forget to send those comment cards in. Get enough good comments, I'll get a slap on the back. Get enough bad comments, I get a slap on the head. Also, Welcome Center's coming up. Lots of great information inside the Welcome Center. Lots of history about the cemetery on the walls. Also a very nice gift shop and restrooms in the Welcome Center. So once we come to a complete stop, please exit on the right side only. Take everything with you. Watch your step.